everybody. Today is a late and abbreviated stream because the Nielsen ratings people really effed everybody up, I think intentionally. We'll discuss it. But Dane, I saw that you're in the ER. I hope everything's okay. And I apologize for a quick stream today. It's going to be about half an hour, but I literally am racing to a Comic-Con dinner, which I'm going to be a little bit late for now. And I feel bad, but I let them know that I was going to be a little late. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Ryan, thank you for your generosity. Ryan Palms, thank you. I appreciate that. And hey, Roman, happy anniversary to us. But these were such good stories that I wanted to do a live stream and get it in there. All right, so let's get started. That's right, Christopher. I got a ball to go to myself. Hey, Emilio, thank you. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate that. Okay, so story number one. All right, story number one. Where is it here? All right. Boop. Okay, here we go. Chapter times. Oh, Ramonzilla, very generous of you. Thank you so much. All right, so the Nielsen ratings are in. So a couple of things to discuss, and then we'll go over the actual ratings. So a couple of, they're not great, okay? And when I tweeted out that they weren't great, some people responded and were like, oh, how accurate is Nielsen, Grace? I think Nielsen sucks. And I felt bad because I was like, Nielsen's pretty accurate. They're only, I think, for North America. They're not global ratings. And of course, there are other factors with the show that are important. Social media engagement, hopefully, I think being really toxic is an issue. They don't want that, obviously. Thank you, Bubbles. Danny, I saw your gift as well. Also, merchandise, how else they can use it, etc., etc. I can't do too many shout outs or it's going to slow me down, but thank you, Evan. So there are other factors, but at the end of the day, the most important thing for a streaming show is to get people to stream. In fact, it's even different a little bit with streaming because the most important thing is to keep people subscribed. And even more important than that, it's to drive new subscribers. So a streaming show has two goals. The main goal is just to keep people and bring people to the streaming service. So since ads aren't sold a la carte anymore like they used to be on other ways things were done, thank you, Not Modern Art, the streaming services are subscription-based. So they have different needs. They want to make sure that you don't churn, that you don't stop and pause your subscription, but then also they want to draw in new subscribers. So if the show doesn't draw in new subscriptions and drive subscriptions, it's not very valuable. Those are all things as well. But, the Nielsen ratings are important. It's important people watch the show. Some people said, well, it doesn't seem to reflect social media. People are tweeting about it. Well, people tweeted the heck about The Acolyte, and that show was canceled. Social media, as we're learning, particularly, I think X is engineered to show you what the algorithm knows you want to see. I don't know about anybody else, but I find myself spending more time on X. I think it's doing that intentionally to me. I think they're using whatever TikTok does. So I actually have a limit set on Twitter on my iPhone that I can only be on. I often meet it and go over, but at least it lets me know that I've been on there for too long for the day. It's showing you what you want to see. It's not, I think that Twitter used to be a little bit more accurate as to what people were talking about, whereas today, I feel that X is more about driving engagement, etc. But Nielsen ratings are very accurate. The studio likes Nielsen ratings. Nielsen ratings matter. Thank you, Ryan. All right, so delayed release. Now, Nielsen ratings come out on a Thursday. They come out late Thursday. They come out consistently unless there's a holiday. Then Nielsen takes a week off or whatever. They don't take the week off. They get delayed, or sometimes they totally skip it. Weird company over there. I think they release the numbers internally, but they don't always release the numbers publicly. But when they do, it's on Thursdays. So it was very interesting that come Friday, midday, or, it's the end of the workday on the East Coast, which, by the way, Hollywood is on the West Coast, but the East Coast drives the news cycle for the most part, outside of the industry trades, because all the news sources are based on the East Coast. So if you release the data at the end of the workday on Friday, it doesn't travel as far. But I mean, these are big this is a big deal. People find the ratings. We're going to get to the ratings in just a minute, Glubby. So, and I agree, Blair, that they need consistency. Nielsen, if they want to be the benchmark, which I believe that they are, they gotta get out there and be the bench. So I think it was very suspicious that they waited. I wouldn't be surprised if they intentionally waited because these numbers are not good. All right, so let's go over them, okay? We're going to talk about Agatha all along, obviously, and the Penguin. So here's the overall chart, okay? Oh, hold on, I'm here still. So here's the overall chart, and this is the big chart. You want to be on this chart, okay? You can see that a lot of shows are on the chart. Even Emily in Paris is on the chart, although it has multiple seasons. But neither Agatha nor Penguin were able to make the overall chart. Which, they're low on episodes because Disney's always starting from square one. There's no backlog of episodes to help them out. But it's pretty bad that they couldn't get on the overall chart. It's unfortunate. I was going to bring the comparisons in at the end, but I'll do it here. Here's Ahsoka, which came out so long ago that the charts look different. Nielsen they can't decide on what they want the charts to look like. Ahsoka, with just 2 episodes, as you can see here. Where's my arrow? There it is. So there's Ahsoka with just the same 2 episodes, made the overall chart. Because they don't mark this as overall, but the fact that Bluey is on here means it's the overall. So Ahsoka, with just the same 2 episodes, made the overall. Number 5 with 829 minutes. So that sucks. Okay, so for Agatha. So Agatha's not even on here. And the bottom is 607. So what was Ahsoka? Hold on. Ahsoka was 829. All right, so it's not even on here. And Ahsoka would have made this chart as well. It would have been, it would have done even better. It would have been wow. Wow, it would have been really close to Rings of Power with just 2 episodes. No wonder they renewed Ahsoka for second season. That's pretty impressive. All right, so neither of these shows are on here. All right, now let's take a look at originals. All right, so by the way, Penguin is not an original show. So keep that in mind. It's coming under acquired. So by the way, I want to give a little bit of a boost to Penguin. Penguin divides its numbers between HBO and Max. This is only the Max viewership for Penguin. So it's not able to get its full numbers on here, which is a problem. They really need to fix this because it's hurting their show's ability to look good in the Nielsen charts. All right, because it's considered... Penguin is not an original show to a streaming service. It is technically now an HBO show that is acquired by a streaming service, Max. So just like House of the Dragon, it's on the acquired charts. But it's not on there either. But right now we're going to look at the originals chart. Okay, so here's the originals chart. At least Agatha placed. The Acolyte couldn't even place, as you recall, even on the originals chart. I think a couple of times it showed up there, but it was rough. But here's Agatha, oh my God, at number 8 with 429, almost half the viewership of Ahsoka's first 2 episodes. Oh, why? All right, so frickin' low. All right, more people are watching, although it has more episodes to it, but more people are watching, or whatever this is. Look at this on Netflix. Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter. What the F is that? That only has 2 episodes. It did better. Very upsetting. All right, so yeah, so that's where it is. Oh, I hope it grows. I don't know, this is bad. But at least it's on there. That's right, Gabe. At least it's on the chart. Welcome, Sean. At least it's somewhere on here because the Acolyte couldn't even get on there either. All right, but don't worry, Penguin, we didn't forget about you. Let's don't talk about, oh, but wait a second. Let me give you one more. So here's Loki. Loki couldn't make the originals chart either. I mean, the overall chart, but it did make the originals chart. Look, by the way, same time Ahsoka was airing, which I find fascinating. So there's Ahsoka at number 2. But look, it only has 575 minutes, so it fell off a little bit here. But there's Loki, which actually debuted pretty close at. Oh, that's interesting. I guess there's more competition here. There are a lot of things in the 400 range. Loki season 2 debuted with 446, which is just a little bit higher than Agatha's. So, why are these Disney Plus numbers so freaking low? Hey, Caliban, thank you. I think part of the issue is that they always start from square one and they have no previous episodes to help them. But yeah, not great. Okay. Ooh. All right, so let's go talk about Penguin. Oh, here comes the Penguin. He's waddling in here. He's not even on it. He's not even on it. Ah! Oh my God. All right, so like the Penguin came out on a Thursday when it debuted. So it had a couple of days here, man. This isn't even just Sunday night. And House of the Dragon, by the way, came out on a Sunday, and it still made the charts. It made the overall chart, House of the Dragon. So I just can't believe that it couldn't even, and 509, I mean, everything here, the acquired chart is competitive because these things have so many episodes, but still, the fact, I think hopefully it's because Penguin's numbers are split, but House of the Dragon's numbers are also split between HBO and Max, and it's able to get onto the charts. So this is very bad. It's very, very bad for both shows. Both of these things. They both trend when they air, to be fair. I told you the Penguin numbers on like breakdowns I've seen drop systematically week to week, and every time I'm like, whew, glad I didn't cover those week to week. But I think we're having fun with Agatha, and Agatha is pretty good from a coverage perspective. But so is The Acolyte. I think it's doing better numbers for YouTubers, both these shows, than for Disney Plus. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this? And because we'll do it quickly, I got to get to the other two stories. Michael says, Agatha all along is the MCU's least expensive show to date, so does it really need to get as high? Yes, it does. They're not doing this just for fun, That's right, Shahar. X-Men 97 never placed, but they already renewed that. Also, I wonder what's cheaper. Animation's become pretty inexpensive. Jared, I can't go back. I'm pressed for time, Jared. So Jared says, Grace, WandaVision debuted on Nielsen in 2021 with 434 minutes. Considering the damage Marvel has done to itself, that's not too bad. That's a fair point, I don't know why Disney Plus isn't as competitive as the other shows, as the other streaming services. Danny says, you think the Agatha's numbers will decrease, but Nye Olsen thinks they'll go up. Well, we'll see. Ramonzilla says, I like both shows, but I think they're both niche characters, which is part of Marvel's DC's problem. That's true. They really got into a deep cuts kind of a situation where they're like, ooh, let's find out, like what happened to this side character. And I told you when I reviewed Penguin that the lack of Easter eggs, just like Andor, I said a long time ago, thank you, Bae, it's nice to see you. I said just when I reviewed Penguin before the show even came out, I was like, very good show, no Easter eggs, nothing to drive a lot of engagement. I think it's going to be like Andor. And Andor had very poor viewership. The only reason Andor got renewed is because they renewed it before it aired. The J-Cat says, good afternoon from Hawaii. Aloha! I'm glad you made it. You think Agatha numbers will go up. Ray's Wig, I'll review Dune Prophecy when they send out screeners. I didn't go to the screening at New York Comic Con, so I'm not going to review it. I didn't watch it. Let's see here. Marduk, short episodes for Agatha, but they dropped 2. Let's see here. So we'll see, I don't know. I think I don't know if I would, but I was talking to somebody about this earlier today. I don't even know if Agatha is a renewable show, period. I think, just like it went from WandaVision to Agatha, I think it'll jump to a different, I think Jack Schaefer will continue to work at Marvel. But if I were Kevin Feige, I'd say, could you come up with now an idea that might have a little more people tune in? And also, you have to remember when WandaVision dropped, that was the beginning of the streaming wars. And I think we're in a very different place now. And I don't know why Disney Plus can't get higher numbers. I do feel part of it is that the episodes are too short and that they keep starting again from square one. They don't build viewership. Although a lot of people like to say neither does Netflix because they keep canceling shows all the time. John Thrasher says, I think Disney will take these numbers hits in order to build out cinematic universes. We'll need this development. Again, I'd have to see what it does for subscribership, and we don't get those numbers. Did a lot of people subscribe to watch Agatha? That would make a difference. Oh, Ramonzilla, I saw Elizabeth Olsen's at New York Comic Con taking a lot of fan photos. She's getting those hand movements in there. That's right, Dane. Dane, you're so sweet. You're in the emergency room and you're worried about my time. Don't worry about yourself. I hope you're okay. Let's see here. Boab says, I don't know that Agatha's numbers reflect that less people like it, like you're saying. I just think maybe the appeal is smaller. It's just, it doesn't have as broad appeal as, these kinds of things are supposed to have. Same for Penguin. I would argue for both of them. I do believe they're both villains. They're both fringe villains. Manpreet says, do you think Daredevil will do well? I think Daredevil, if it's good, will do extremely well. I think has very strong viewership. A lot of big fans built up because even though it's the first season for Disney Plus, Daredevil will be the technically the 5th season. And also from what we're seeing from casting rumors, that they're going to have a lot of Easter eggs. That show will be very Easter egg heavy, and so I think people will feel they need to watch it. And Vanille says, Agatha not having toxic hate is its true success. I think that's definitely an important aspect of it and a feather in its cap, but that's not enough for renewal. It needs to do, these things need to, they need to eventually place a little bit better. So we'll see what happens. All right, I got to move on to the next story. Okay. Story number 2. These are good stories today. I'm very happy with them. Okay. All right. Story number 2. Boop. Deadly boop. Ooh, they're going to remake American Psycho. And that's been trending all day. People are pretty intrigued by that news. The second 2 stories of the day are interesting to me because I like seeing new superstar directors emerge, right? I like seeing, for a long time we've had all these we're always talking about Scorsese and Spielberg. We're talking about the same directors we've always been talking about. It's nice that Nolan is a new name, right? And Villeneuve is kind of becoming a new name. But I like adding even, additional names. So Luca Guadagnino, who I'm actually a very big fan of. Luca Guadagnino, we'll have to come up with a nickname for him. I don't know, he has such a chill vibe though. So Luca Guadagnino has been hired to do this for Lionsgate. The Lionsgate AI, I gotta tell you, the AI's doing a pretty good job over there. It's remake American Psycho. And they're like, ooh, I'm glad we plugged this thing in and turned it on. So I actually think this is a pretty good idea, particularly with Luca Guadagnino. I think Luca Guadagnino, LG's pretty good, Miles, but everyone will just think we're talking about Guadi's pretty, I don't know. We'll have to think about it. But Guadi maybe is the front runner. So anyway, Luca Guadagnino is going to remake this. Now let's take a look at Luca Guadagnino's movies. He's very talented. I'm a fan of his. Now he's made some small films to start out with, but the movie that of course made him a mainstream or household name was Call Me by Your Name, which of course introduced the world to Timothy Chalamet. Then he went on to do Suspiria with Dakota Johnson, which I think, horror fans liked it, but it didn't really hit. Bones and All, when he reunited with Timmy C, which was about cannibals and love. Nobody liked that. Challengers, I liked Challengers quite a bit. I thought Challengers was great. And it did pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. And then, of course, this movie Queer with Daniel Craig was quite the hit at Venice, and people are very interested in it. And I think that, the heat that came off of this festival premiere, I'm sure was extremely helpful in him getting American Psycho. Now, I think, from a creative perspective, a lot of you might be like, how dare you? How dare you remake it? But let's put our business hats on and take a look at American Psycho. So it has pretty good, 68% critic score. I think there's definitely room for improvement there, but 85% audience score, which means that, it's of course one of Christian Bale's breakout roles. It helped him get Batman. Very, very important for him. I don't think Jacob Elordi would be good, Mika. I think he'd be not well cast. We'll talk about the casting. So I think this is pretty good. I feel pretty good about this. But then look, makes me feel even better about a remake. Look at the box office, so low. I'm sure Cooper Koch. That's a good idea, Yessie, one of the Menendez brothers actors. I mean, maybe it would be a little bit similar, but that'd be a really nice idea. Kareem also seconds that. Cooper Koch, who played Eric Menendez. Is Twitter suggesting the Menendez brothers? That's a very good idea. Cooper Koch. Have you seen him? He's so sassy in his interviews. He was on Andy Cohen the other night for Watch What Happens. And I don't know if he had a little to drink before he went on, but he was very sassy. And he had quite an attitude in his interview. And I was like, ooh, it was a little mean-spirited. I was like, wow. So he'd actually be excellent. I think he'd be great. I know some of you think the Lyle actor, but you don't want someone who looks exactly like Christian Bale. I don't think that's fun. And of course, Luca Guadagnino has historically LGBTQ characters in his movies. So I do wonder if they might add that element a little bit to this American Psycho. We'll see. But yeah, Cooper Koch is an extremely good choice. And I agree that he and Luca Guadagnino would go over very well. I really like Cooper Koch. That's an excellent decision. We're going to talk about it. Here's the book. Look at that disturbing cover. Oh, so disturbing. I got to tell you, I was like, I don't think I could watch this when I read the plot, when I was, racing to get this live stream going. And I was like, well, what was in the book that they didn't put in the movie? And I looked at it and I was like, that's disgusting. Like so bloody and disturbing. And I was like, I don't think I can sit through that. But as soon as you tell me Cooper Koch is going to be it, maybe, I'm like, well, maybe I'll watch it. So yeah, they really watered it down for the movie with Christian Bale. Now, some people are saying, oh, why don't you do tech bros, right? And toxic fans. It was so interesting to me. I saw somebody talking about that some chud had tweeted out the old picture of who used to work at Twitter and who works at X now. And not only was it far fewer people, but it was almost exclusively now men working there. And an original tweet said that was great. And someone had retweeted that and said, I can't believe this is being celebrated. And I agreed. I thought that was horrible. So I do feel like the tech toxic space, like Elon Musk, like that would be interesting to kind of explore, because if anything, we're moving more in that direction of American Psycho with some, I don't know if it's all like bots from other countries, but it seems to be there to some degree. And then also, of course, we're experiencing a horror renaissance. So that could be very, everybody's very interested in that. Horror films are doing quite well. So you could potentially do that. That subber says, why make a remake? The reason you make a remake, all right, business hats on, everybody, is that you want the name recognition. Even if you haven't seen American Psycho, you've heard of it. You've seen the memes, you've seen him talk about his business card font and walk into the office, with his headphones on. I feel like that is definitely, as Aubrey points out, an IP. So everybody's like, oh yeah, American Psycho, that movie that made Christian Bale famous. I didn't watch the first one, but maybe I'll watch this new one. Why do you guys, Jacob Elordi is a horrible choice. If Jacob Elordi was in it, I wouldn't see it. I guess I'd have to for work. But I don't like Jacob Elordi. Stop trying to make Jacob Elordi happen. I don't think he's going to happen. I think Margot Robbie's and Emerald Fennell are going to fall flat on their face with that Wuthering Heights remake. He is just not it, in my opinion. I know someone's like, and scene, put it on Twitter. Okay, you guys always clip my stuff. All right. I can see some of you like Jacob Elordi, but I don't know who those people are. Okay. And I've never even seen him act, and I don't like him. Something about Jacob Elordi, I'm like, Not for me, man. Not a fan. So as for the casting, part of me was like, Mike Faced? Josh O'Connor? I wouldn't be as excited about Josh O'Connor. I mean, it should obviously be Cooper Koch. Cooper Koch is so camp and would do such a good job with the comedic aspects of this role. And like, cause Patrick Bateman has a lot of sass and is like, no, not Adam Driver. Adam Driver's already played this role like a gabillion times. But yeah, it should be Cooper Koch. I think, he's hot off the Menendez show, which is doing extremely well. It has a good slow burn. The ratings aren't amazing out of the gate, but they're consistent. And I just think Cooper Koch would just... Jake says Cooper Koch doesn't have enough pull for a remake. Maybe. I would be nervous about that, but maybe I could flesh out the rest of the cast with bigger names. And, Luca Guadagnino. And also, Luca Guadagnino, I'm sure is going to make this pretty sexy. It's a pretty sexy book. And, Cooper Koch has proven he has no problem with, the salacious scenes. So I think let's see. I think it's definitely a fine line and you can't go too far with the material. And so I'd be like, you got to be right on the line, Luca. You got to be just spicy enough that people are like, ooh, let's see it. Like a Basic Instinct kind of thing. But you don't want to go so far that people are like, oh, I can't do it. Jack Quaid? Nobody wants to see Jack Quaid kill anybody. Scream aside. AG says Nicholas Galitzine. I don't know. You're not going to sway me off of Cooper Koch. Bill Skarsgård. Nobody wants to see him, as has unfortunately been proven at this point. I'm telling you, it's Cooper Koch. It's done. It's done. Are you talking about Glenn Powell? By the way, Netflix was sending stuff out for award season, and I got a big hoot out of the fact that I only have the picture on my phone. I don't have the t-shirt with me. They sent me a picture. They sent me a t-shirt of of Glenn Powell, a bunch of Glenn Powells. Where'd it go? And in the middle, he just has no shirt on at all. And I was texting some friends being like, do you want this shirt? And they were like, where would I wear that? But here's the shirt. I thought that was just hilarious. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? So that was just really funny. Okay, so yeah. Glenn, I gotta tell you, Glenn Powell, I feel like Glenn Powell's already done the role. Maybe I'll save it to wear on a stream, Leon. That's pretty funny. Maybe I'll wear it on the show, on a show. That's pretty funny, just for comedic effect. That's so funny. David Cornsweet, he's actually but if I were Warner Brothers, I'd be like, don't you dare, Superman. Until you are no longer Superman, don't you dare be an American Psycho. But Glenn Powell, I think he's already played this role too. I'm telling you, man, it's Cooper Koch. But let's see. Austin Butler, that's a pretty good suggestion. I like the Austin Butler suggestion. I like that as well. That's interesting. Henry Cavill? I don't know if Henry Cavill would do like really sexy scenes. Henry Cavill, remember in The Witcher, Henry Cavill had all of his sex scenes with his clothes on? Everybody's like, are you kidding me? Why is, what was his name again? I forgot, Geralt, Heralt or whatever. They were like, why is he fully clothed? They'd be rolling around on the floor and his leading lady was totally naked and he would still have his full armor on. And you'd be like, why do you think anybody's watching this show, Henry? What are you talking about? It was really funny. Okay. Like he was in a bath scene. He's willing to take his shirt off, but that's it for some reason. It was very, very funny. Okay. All right. So does anybody have questions or questions about this? Oh, Taron Egerton. Oh, that's a good casting choice, but I don't think anybody wants to see him either. I feel bad. I can't believe they cast him as somebody who works at TSA, by the way. I don't know. I feel it feels like a missed opportunity for another actor. Let's see here. Rashad, I don't think they'd cast a person of color because the whole point of this is the toxicity. You know? I think they might diversify the rest of the cast. No, I don't. All right, let's move on to the next story. We're just throwing out names at this point. Okay. Alrighty, story number 2. All right, let me get my arrow. This one, I love this story. This is going to be a big hit. This is going to be so fun to cover. I can't wait for it to get going. All right, so, boom, baby. Oh, no, I covered a Prince Charming's face. Sorry, Prince Charming. All right, so they're making a Prince Charming movie at Disney. And I think let's just cut to the chase. We're all thinking it. It's going to be Disney's version of Ken. That's my guess. All right, so let's do this in order now. So I think this is a really good idea. All right, so the other director that's getting a name for themselves is Paul King, who, of course, not only directed the... I don't think they're going to cast Ryan Gosling because it's too close, but I think they're going to go for something like that. So Paul King, who directed... Not Jacob Elordi, guys. No. All right, so Paul King, who directed the Paddington movies, which were obviously very highly regarded, went on to then, of course, do Wonka, which was very, very successful. You know, the Paddington movies got very high scores, but they didn't make a lot. They didn't make a ton of money, but Wonka did. So Wonka, as you can look at those scores for Wonka, that's incredible, both critic and audience. And the box office is very strong as well. I think Disney, especially because Paul King is very frugal and fiscally responsible, Paul King, I think, would deliver a film that wouldn't be too expensive. So they would be happy with a return to this degree. I think they, if they go the Ken route, official Liam, they can cast actors of color. Because I'm like, Kumail Nanjiani has to be in this movie. He has to be one of the Prince Charmings, in my opinion. I don't know if it's going to be a musical, Ricardo, but how can it not? If they hired Paul King, who, by the way, is also bringing his what's that guy named, like Simon Farnaby or whatever. He's going to help him write this as well, just as he helped write the other movies. So I think this is just an absolutely fantastic idea. All right, so as I said, where's my arrow? I think Barbie, the Kens. I think that somebody over at Disney, I think they've been working on a Prince Charming movie for a while, but I think somebody saw just how popular Ken was in the Barbie movie and was like, we have a Ken, Prince Charming. So I think the only way this works is if you do all the princes. I mean, they said it's going to be based on Cinderella's Prince Charming, but I guess he would be the de facto Prince Charming. But what about all the other versions? That, to me, I think is the most interesting. And it allows you to cast a diverse group of actors. Because, obviously you're like, who's going to be the Prince Charming? And if whoever you pick, one group is going to be like, well, why couldn't we be Prince Charming? And you'd be like, that's a fair question. So you want everybody to show up. So you got to have multiple Prince Charmings. And I think there are a lot of really funny actors, male actors out there who could be hilarious. Now the question is, will it be all of the Disney Prince Charmings? Or will it be just generic Prince Charmings, maybe in competing kingdoms and stuff like that? Because if you bring in specific Prince Charmings, then you have to have their princesses. And I don't think they'd want to have to deal with that. So I think if I were Disney, I would do generic Prince Charmings, and they're all in different kingdoms competing with each other, or something like that. And you can have princesses, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be the princesses, but then they'd have to recast them. They're not going to, I'm not quite sure how they're going to figure this out. But I think it's an extremely good idea, and especially now that Paul King is handling it. I think it's very, very interesting. Now, as you can see, let's take out the Wonka stuff. Now, as you can see, here are the live-action movies. And Wonka fits very nicely with these aesthetics, by the way. So these weren't all hits, but, the ones that didn't do well were the ones that were kind of bland visually. The ones that were, had the wedding cake treatment did extremely well. And Wonka, I think, definitely had wedding cake treatment to it. Wonka was very much like that. So I think that this is an absolutely phenomenal idea. And I think it's funny, many of you were pointing out that the casting is the same for American Psycho. Isn't that hilarious? Because obviously you want a Prince, Patrick Bateman's supposed to be like a New York City Prince Charming who turns out to be obviously a mass murderer. But here you obviously want the same ones. Cooper Koch could be a Prince Charming. So could his co-star. Nobody ever remembers his name. But yeah, I mean, there are some really, really good choices here. But I think you have to go with multiple Prince Charmings, or else people are just going to feel left out. And you don't want that. You want everybody to feel like they're a part of this. Oh, Nicholas Chavez, thank you. So, I mean, I think this is a very difficult thing to do, but I think that it will work because of the person they just chose to handle it. Paul King will be directing and also writing along with his writing partner. And I just think it's fantastic. And Adam Sphere says, hey, it's original. That's right, it is somewhat original. And that's the other exciting thing about it. It's not going to be a live action remake. So it'll be a fresh story. You know, Dre Films, they could go with older Prince Charmings. They could go with Chris Pine, Chris Pratt. Well, Chris Pratt, can he sing? But Chris Hemsworth? Maybe not all the Prince Charmings can sing. Maybe that's part of the joke. Glenn Powell is a good choice. If you go a little older, you maybe could go the right direction. But I think it's great. You can't do Ryan Gosling, though, Cosmics, because he's already Ken. You can't have any of the Kens, because they already did it. Ricardo, I love Hugh Jackman. I love him so much, but I think he's a little bit too old for this. I think the highest you could go, well, I don't know how old Chris Pine is. Zac Efron, maybe. Manny Jacinto. No, there's, you know, Disney, of course, has been built. You know, Disney's been into beefcake for a long time. They've built a deep roster. The beefcake bench goes strong. So there's a lot of choices out there, right? Britt, your Twitter hates this idea too? Well, I think your Twitter's wrong. I can see why you wouldn't like the idea, but I think you're just not thinking about it in the way that it's going to go. But by the way, it has to also still remain family friendly. And that's another good reason for hiring Paul King. Oh, look at the time. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story? Because I gotta get going, man. Prince Beefcake. Oh, it's going to be great. Aubrey says, do you think this is a 2027 film? Probably. I mean, I can't wait for them to cast it, but it's you know, they have a long ways to go. Taron Egerton would also work in this. I love Taron Egerton. I'd like him to be maybe Cyclops or Wolverine. Rodney, I'm just guessing as to what the story is. Nobody knows what the story is. They just know it's a Prince Charming movie and that Paul King is going to be in charge of it now. That's right, Ethan. My favorite Prince Charming is... Who's everyone's favorite Prince Charming? I like Prince Philip the best, just because I like Sleeping Beauty so much as a movie. Some of the recent Prince Charmings... Aladdin, obviously. Everybody loves Aladdin. I think... people really... I never was a big Prince Eric fan. Naveen is a lot of fun. Kumail Nanjiani would be a wonderful Naveen. I like all the Naveen love. That makes me so happy. I love seeing Princess and the Frog get its due. Such a wonderful film. Flynn Rider. They got a lot of good princes. That's a pretty nice lineup. You know? I like that. It looks like a fantasy strip show. And it's what it will be to some degree. Like it's raining men. Hallelujah. I don't know what age range to go with. Kumail Nanjiani. For some reason, I'm just seeing Kumail Nanjiani. I mean, he's got that face. All right. Okay, let's do I really have to go. I have to go. I would do a Q&A, and I feel bad this stream is short. But I'm afraid, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can get the super chat. How many Prince Charming, Green Lantern's Light, as I said, I don't know how many they're going to be utilizing because nobody knows the story for sure yet. All right, I better get going. I don't want to be too late for my dinner. Thank you so much, everybody. I had such a nice time. I'm so glad I was able to get this stream in and we were able to talk about these stories. I think I got to tell you, this is unfortunate. Hopefully they go up. Thank you, Isaac. But I have to say, both these movies look exceptional to me. I think I'm very excited for both of these. All right, everybody. Mwah! I'll see you on Sunday for Movie Math. Bye-bye.